So Hare Krishna, welcome, don't go to sleep. We will sing in the beginning. Very happy to see you. This is our last session for this summer camp. I have chosen to speak about knowledge that leads to bhakti. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna,
Hare Krishna
in the recent lectures, we have tried to learn some important lessons from the pastimes of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. We looked at the determination of Haridas Thakur, who would not even waver a bit, not slightly deterred or bewildered, even in the face of physical punishment and physical pain. We looked at Sanatana Goswami's being an instrument in the hands of the Lord, and we could see how Srila Prabhupada actually wrote about this. He spoke, he said the Lord should make him a puppet in his hands, and he would move according to the puppeteer, the master. And he said, we are the international string band. Puppets are hanging on a string. And so we compared ISKCON with an international string band or string puppet theater. We are meant, in other words, to become instruments in the hands of the Lord. And for that, we looked at surrender, surrendering to the plan of the Lord. And yesterday, you all discussed in groups of 2 what surrender could mean at this stage of your life for you. And I think you found some very good points which you could live by. I know that 80% of you have forgotten what you found yesterday. This is the general reality of people who listen to spiritual lectures. But I would still encourage all of you to go back to yesterday, to think again and to revisit again and to fine-tune again and again your individual challenges. My dear devotees, life starts outside of your comfort zone. You will never ever be able to come to the next stage of your spiritual life if you do not move away or move out of your present state, your present level. Don't expect significant spiritual growth unless you're willing to move out of your comfort zone. This is quite important. So today we will look on acquiring knowledge and how knowledge and all knowledge leads to devotional service and bhakti. And we will look at the amazing example of Ramananda Roy. Now, before I can start, I need to ask my internet people. Premamurti is here. Can you find on your mobile telephone? First, you need to find the mobile telephone. Just there. It is just there.
My mobile is not here. It's back.
It's there. So what will we do? Oh, here's something. What? You have? What is it? Kindle? You know, can you find Chaitanya Charitamrita? Do you have Chaitanya Charitamrita? Antya Leela, 5th chapter. Antya Leela, 5th chapter. Text 20. I think here it is. Let me use Premamurti because he can help me. you can sit here. I don't need it now, but in the progress of the lecture. And then you can help me to press the right buttons. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gora Vajanine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paskajane Zatarine Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasavi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. The ultimate goal of all knowledge is to acquire information that brings you closest to God. If you can get information, knowledge, skills, techniques, examples that bring you, Paramananda, closest, not just closer, closest to Krishna, that can be considered true knowledge. Because in our original state, we are close to Krishna. And due to ignorance, the opposite of knowledge, the avidya shakti, it's a certain energy of ignorance, avidya shakti, we are now separated from Krishna. So if we can get knowledge that brings us again together with Krishna, that knowledge is true knowledge. But knowledge which brings us away from Krishna, knowledge which brings us out of contact, which does not keep this, bring us into yoga, bhakti yoga with Krishna, is considered to be only an extension of the avidya shakti, the potency of ignorance. That is the Krishna conscious version. There is a very nice example of a very knowledgeable personality who is talking about the principles of spiritual knowledge. His name is Ramananda Roy. He was the eldest of the 5 sons of Bhavananda and lived in Bentpur, which is about 7 kilometers away, or 5 kilometers away from the town of Alananad, which is a town just next to Puri. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu used to say about his relationship to Ramananda Roy, that Ramananda and I am one person, although our bodies are different. He held him so close to his heart, this Ramananda Roy, that he said, we are one person, but in different bodies. Sometimes I have heard friends say like this, we are one person, the two of us, but we are in different bodies. This is a way to say we are very close, and I entirely trust this other person in all affairs. My dear devotees, I hope you can find such a friend in your life. It is extremely inspiring to have someone like that. Ramananda Roy held, however, also a very important position in the social sphere of the kingdom or the empire of Orissa. He was the most trusted servant of this huge empire, which was led by a God-conscious king called Prataparudra, Maharaj Prataparudra. And he was so influential that he was positioned and given the title of Viceroy. You know, there's the king, and then there's his representative, who's called the Viceroy. He lived in the south of the Orient Kingdom, and he defended the southern border, which was the weakest border of Maharaj Prataparudra's empire, successfully against the constant attempts of the foreign invaders and also the kings of the Vidyanagar dynasties. He held the position. So you can see he was a very, very powerful regent, or you could say minister, who at the same time was extremely close to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, or became extremely close. He was a Sanskrit scholar, a poet, a dramatic writer, and he was a master musician. He could compose music which would make you faint. He was so good. He had a friend who lived at the court of Prataparudra. His name was Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, the royal priest. And Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya would discuss with Ramananda as highly aristocratic friends, and he would laugh about Ramananda because Ramananda was a very high-class bhakta. He would sometimes burst out in laughing and said, Ramananda, everything you always explain in terms of your Krishna. He was like this, but later when Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya met Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and was converted or influenced by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's tremendous bhakti, he actually felt, oh, my friend Ramananda was right in what he said. And when Sarvabhauma heard about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's plan to visit the southern provinces of India, he said to him, oh, my dear Mahaprabhu, you have to meet one person in the south. You have to meet Ramananda Roy. He's my friend, but he's also the greatest devotee of Krishna whom I have ever met. So now we have set the scene for the most important meeting in the Chaitanya tradition, the meeting of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Ramananda Roy. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu traveled, and we have heard how he traveled. He would chant this one mantra from morning till evening, and he would walk, he would sing. Krishna, Krishna, Krishna Hey, Krishna, 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 Krishna Hey. Just singing these names of Lord Krishna would give the Lord so much pleasure that his heart would tremble. He would raise his arms, and anyone whom he would meet on the way, he would simply embrace him. And he would sing in his ear, Krishna, 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 Lakshma. Krishna, 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 Parima, Parima. Krishna Kesava, Krishna Kesava, Krishna Kesava, Parima. Rama, protect me. Oh Krishna, please take care of me. He would walk like this. And he was now, after a whole day of walking like this, he was sitting at the banks of the Godavari evening. The Godavari river, I wanted to say. It was evening. The birds were coming home to their nests. There was a peaceful, relaxed atmosphere. The river was flowing like a river of silver through the countryside. At that time, Mahaprabhu heard in the distance some music. There was a procession. The Viceroy, Ramananda, was carried by 4 servants, strong servants, on a palanquin. There were brahmanas before him who chanted the Rig and Samavedas. Shanti, 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 who were sprinkling water to purify the road. And Ramananda was sitting, lost in thoughts, in his palanquin. All of a sudden, he saw on the bank of the river the effulgent personality of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And when he saw this unusual image of the Lord sitting and chanting in deep absorption the holy name, he jumped out of his palanquin. He ran towards Gauranga Mahaprabhu. Gauranga saw him coming. He got up, and Ramananda paid his obeisances into the dust. He ran past all the brahmanas, and he just bang fell in the dust, and his nice dress became dusty. And then he got up and saw Chaitanya, and they embraced and they cried, and they became so overwhelmed that again, bang, both of them fell in the dust. The brahmanas had never seen the Viceroy, the highest governmental position next to the king, becoming so excited upon seeing a poor renunciant sannyasi. And they looked, what is this? What is this? What is this? And they looked with strong eyes. What is this? And Ramananda Roy felt the critical eyes of the Brahmanas. He said, when can I meet you? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, later in the evening, visit me in the home of my domatsan, my host, where I stay for the night. Krishna, Krishna, Krishna Hare, Krishna, 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 Krishna Hare. My dear devotees, in the evening, Ramananda Roy came alone. He was dressed in simple Vaishnava clothes, not like a king. And he came and he looked at Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and he said, I feel attracted to you in a way which I cannot understand. I feel I have met that person for whom I was longing since my childhood. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, sit down. I have some questions to ask you. I have heard from Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, Sarvabhauma, that you are knowledgeable in the Bhakti Shastras. Then tell me, what is the real goal of life? My dear devotees, Ramananda gave an answer. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, that's very external and superficial. Tell me a bit more. Ramananda gave another answer, and again Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, what more is there? They discussed so many things. And finally Ramananda said, people can just stay in their social positions as they are, and then engage in the process of hearing Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita and devotional service. And Prabhupada, he comments this. He says, because most people are fallen and because there's no time to elevate them by a gradual process, the best course, the best method is to let them remain in whatever condition they are in, but to engage them in hearing of the activities of the Supreme Lord. And those activities are explained in the Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. These transcendental messages of the scriptures should be heard from the lips of realized souls. In this way a person may continue to live in whatever condition he is in and still make spiritual progress. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, good, you are saying we just need to hear about Krishna. Yes, said Ramananda. It's good, said Chaitanya, but is there more? And Ramananda explained more and more until he came to the most confidential subject, which is known maybe to one or two here in this room. That is, the highest bhakti is when one becomes the servant of the servants of Srimati Radharani, Krishna's foremost devotee, and serves Radha through her assistance to please the transcendental senses of the transcendental Cupid, Krishna. No? This is, in Gaudiya Vaishnava philosophy, the highest. Because we first need to start with the ABCs and get them right, we are usually not discussing this too much in detail, except with a few more advanced souls. Then Mahaprabhu said, I like our discussions so much. I have a request to you. Why, when I've finished my South India tour, why don't you come to Puri and both of us stay in Puri and discuss the nectarian pastimes of Radha and Krishna? Ramananda said, I'm the viceroy by my position, but I will make sure that I come. On another day, and this is a very important day, Ramananda came again. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asked him, tell me, what is the best education? Ramananda Roy said, bhakti or devotional service is the highest education. If we can engage in the loving service of Krishna, then there is no avidya, no ignorance, and we are with Krishna. Then Mahaprabhu said, tell me, what is the greatest achievement of the living entity? What is achievement in Serbian language? What? Dospolucci? Dostilucci? Something like this. A very sympathetic word. What is the highest achievement what you can get? Well, I would say a position and a Mercedes-Benz. I want to become a member of the GBC. That's the highest position. Or better, a guru. Now, what's the highest achievement? Normally we don't think like this. What do you wish to have when you finish this life? Yeah, you say it so easily, but I don't see anyone working in this direction. You know, saying is not enough. The greatest achievement is to be a servant of Sri Krishna. This title, to be a servant, means an associate of Krishna. That's the greatest. Then, Mahaprabhu said, good answers, but tell me, what is the greatest misery?
Separation from devotees.
Separation from a dear devotee of Krishna. But some of us feel, oh, I hope this summer camp is soon over. Then my real life starts again. Which song, Murari Chaitanya, you are a singer. Which song is the spontaneous nature of living entities? What's this most spontaneous song? It's difficult to give an answer to this. Ramananda Roy said, to sing about the pastimes of Radha Govinda is the natural propensity for the pure spirit souls. And so many questions. They were really, my dear devotees, I see always when we read directly from the scriptures, you go all, oh, when some jokes are coming. This is not very interesting for me. I can tell you very good jokes also, but I don't want to do this. Because we have to learn to bring our mind up to the devotional level where we can relish these discussions. Then Ramananda Roy said, wait, you are asking me all the time. Now, please allow me to ask you a question. I'm coming here since many days, and I always see different things. When I look at you, sometimes I see there is a golden sannyasi sitting in front of me. Then all of a sudden, you seem to change form and color, and you are blackish, and you have big eyes, and lips which are very red. But then, before you comes a golden personality, a lady, a divine lady who covers you with her golden effulgence. Who are you? Imagine I'm sitting before Prema Murti, and Prema Murti all of a sudden takes on an entirely different form. He looks all of a sudden like this on Lalita's t-shirt, you know, Lalita, can you get up and we can see, you know, it's the most beautiful t-shirt. Imagine, I see Prema Murti all of a sudden like this. Thank you, Lalita, this is a very good t-shirt. I would think, maybe I ate too much prasadam yesterday, you know. This is a little, so I made a little joke. So, but he really looked, he saw, this was Krishna he saw. In the next moment, Radharani, who are you? Kositi. So Lord Chaitanya said, it is all right, Budi Mirni, be peaceful. You know, you are a great devotee. By your devotion, you see Krishna everywhere. But it's because you are a devotee, not because there is Krishna. Ramananda Roy said, I fall down at your lotus feet. In the first meeting, I already felt you are the most different personality whom I've ever seen so far. Please don't cheat me any longer. Please tell me who you are. In this moment, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu displayed a form which he had never shown before. He displayed, out of him came Krishna and Srimati Radharani. The divine couple was standing before Ramananda Roy, who then fainted and realized that everything he thought had fallen away from him. He knew he was no longer a wise king. He knew he was no longer a man even. He could see himself as Vishaka Devi, the eternal servant of Srimati Radharani. Ha ha ha! That's very good. This is sometimes what I ask the devotees. Who are you when everything that you are not has fallen away from you? Good question, isn't it? Christian, who are you when everything that you are not has fallen away? Yoga teacher, basketball player, wonderful devotee of Krishna. Many roles. Who are you at that time? Who are you when death has come and visited you and taken your body away from you, Radharani? This is a question which, can you recognize it's an important question? Who are you? Draupadi, who are you really? Kishori is mesmerized. Wow, what a question. All the roles we play in this life are not our identity. They are identifications, but not identity. So Ramananda Roy was convinced after he saw this form of Rasaraj Krishna, Mahabhavini, Srimati Radharani, and he went directly to the seat of power, Kathak at that time. He burst into the throne hall of Prataparuta. Oh, said Prataparuta, my viceroy has come to see me. Ramananda Roy said, here is a very great beggar of, he is not a viceroy, he is a beggar. I have seen, I am the servant of Krishna. Please release me from my government duties. Please allow me to engage in the service of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is Krishna, who has come with the effulgence of Radharani in this age of Kali to give love of God to the souls. Please let me join him in his mission. The king looked at his best man, his best politician, and began to cry and said, you are fortunate. I am not so fortunate. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu does not want to see me because I'm a king. But he has made an exception with you. Go, go. No need for you to be a viceroy any longer. You can become a servant of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and I give you your pension, free of cost. Pension means you will get maintenance. So Ramananda Roy came to Puri, and he joined Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and he was given a place in the Jagannath garden. And there, something happened which is very thought-provoking. It was an amazing, a really amazing pastime which will blow our minds, really. It is very difficult to understand. But I wish that you listen carefully. One day, it started like this. One day, Pradyumna Mishra, a wonderful devotee, came to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and said, my Lord, can you tell me something about Krishna? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, what do I know about Krishna? There's one devotee to whom I am going and from whom I am listening to the pastimes of Krishna. His name is Ramananda Roy. Go and listen from him. This was something, you know, the Supreme Lord gives his devotee a recommendation to listen Krishna Katha from someone he thinks is most qualified. So Ramananda, so Pradyumna Mishra went and was received by the servant. And the servant said, Ramananda Roy is just now extremely busy, but wait some time and I will, and he will come. Okay, Pradyumna Mishra waited and waited and waited. After some time he just made some noise and called the servant. What is he doing? I'm waiting now already. There were no wristwatches at that time, but the sun is going down already. Well, said the servant, he has some work to do. He's training 2 young girls. They are Devadasis, to express in gestures the feelings of love to Lord Jagannath. He trains them personally, he gives them a bath personally. Really? And Pradyumna Mishra developed a critical attitude. But he waited, he was a gentleman. What are Devadasis, my dear devotees? They are young girls from Brahmana families. They are extremely beautiful. And they are dancing in the temple of Puri. They are inside Devadasis and outside Devadasis. The inside Devadasis come even on the altar and dance for the pleasure of the Lord on the altar. The outside Devadasis dance outside the altar in a certain area reserved for them with music. The culture of Devadasis, the idea of Devadasis, has a long, long, long tradition. It is said that once one priest saw that Lord Jagannath was on the altar, but he was covered with dust. On the altar there is no dust. When he looked closer on the garments, it was dust, and there were also some thorns in his cloth. There are no thorns on the altar. From where was the Lord so dusty, and from where did all the thorns come? So he waited and hid. Evening time came, and he saw how Lord Jagannath started to look around and then walked down from the altar. He walked through the streets of Puri, there was no one, and he went into a garden where there was a little girl, a beautiful girl, singing and dancing and illustrating the verses of the Gita Govinda. Have you heard Gita Govinda, a song written by the great poet Jayadev Goswami? Our Anuradha is fully informed. Jayadev Goswami wrote this Gita Govinda. It's a beautiful song, love song, expressing the love of Radha and Krishna. It expresses how Radha is in one part of the Vrindavan forest and longs so much for Krishna to come and be with her, but he doesn't come, and she's going through the many emotions of love as she waits for Krishna. So this young girl was singing the moods of Radharani and the emotions and the feelings of love. And the Lord had left his altar, just imagine this, and had gone out in this garden to hear this beautiful song and narration about his greatest lover, Srimati Radharani. And when the young girl had finished singing this, the Lord, without the girl didn't notice that the Lord was there, he went back onto his altar. The devotee said, "Oh my, the Lord wants to hear this song. We should arrange that in the temple this song is sung for the Lord. It's his favorite song." And he went to the king and informed the king. And from that day the king ordered that each morning before the breakfast, and then at midnight, Lord Jagannath goes very late to bed. At midnight, also this song is sung by a young girl, a Devadasi, who best represents the moods and of Srimati Radharani to the Lord. Men are not allowed to be there because it is really a transcendental pleasure for the Lord. No? It is really, when there is love, you must know such high love, then this ordinary things, ordinary restrictions fall away. Like when the child is wanting to be fed by the mother very lovingly offers her own body so that the child can drink sufficient amount of milk. And there is not a thought of anything which which grown-up men feel regarding ladies. That is not there, a feeling of appreciation of physical form, lust, and all these things. It's in a different realm, it's in a different category, it's in a category of love. It is absolutely free from all the, let us say, impurities maybe of material desires which plague the conditions souls. So now imagine this type of innocent love is, innocent means pure love. That is there in the spiritual world between Krishna and some of his devotees who relate to him in that relationship of a beloved. It's called Madhurya Rasa, as you well know. So these young girls were trained to be dancers for the pleasure of the Lord, and they had to be able to express these exalted, loving emotions which the beloved or the lovers express to the beloved. This was the role of the Devadasis. Therefore, in traditional temple dance, we all know there is the men are not invited to participate. Ladies also not. It's absolutely between these well-trained, highly exalted Devadasis and the Lord. That is the origin of the Devadasi movement. As Kali Yuga progressed, things became different, but that's the idea. No? And I have in where I stay, a silken chadar, silk. It is pure silk. It's red and yellow, which has the letters of the Gita Govinda, all the verses in it, it comes from Lord Jagannath, who's dressed in this loving poem. He wishes to be totally covered with this loving poem. He wants to be covered by Salubov, no? That is his idea. It's a very loving affair, very pure, very wonderful. Krishna, I have it locked away because I think it's very confidential and it's very deep and very special. There was a time that I would have it when I was chanting, but then I felt I'm not qualified. I will lock it away, no one can see it. It's wonderful. So this is the idea, and Ramananda Roy was training these Devadasis to perform this highest deity service, you could say, deity worship. Now, here's Pradyumna Mishra. He's waiting. He is with two young girls. You know, and then after some time, Ramananda Roy's servant says, "My dear master, you have a guest, he's getting a little impatient." "Oh, you didn't tell me," said Ramananda Roy, and he then sent the Devadasis home. They went through a different exit. No normal people should see them, as they're so nicely decorated still. And he went to Pradyumna. "Oh, I'm sorry, I was lately informed. My servant, he did not interrupt me. What can I do for you? You are a great devotee." "Well," said Pradyumna Mishra, "I just wanted to see your face. It's all right." And he excused himself. So next morning, he went to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and said, "The person you sent me to is dangerous." Do you know what he did? He was there with these girls, he trained them to dance. This is not a person who can be trusted. Then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave an answer, and our Premamurti will find this answer on the mobile telephone for us. Yeah. He said, "Shri, you must, Pradyumna Mishra, good that you asked. And I must inform you, Srila Ramananda Roy used to act in that way because he thought of himself in his original position as a maidservant of the gopis. He didn't think himself as a man. He thought himself of an eternal servant of the gopis. Thus, although externally he appears to be a man, internally, in his original spiritual position, he considers himself a maidservant and considered the two girls gopis, yes. The greatness of the devotees of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is extremely difficult to understand. He said this, "You cannot understand my devotees so easily." Sri Ramananda Roy is unique, means unique, there is no other one. He's the only one amongst them all. For he showed how one can extend his ecstatic love to the extreme limit. Now, Srila Prabhupada has written about this purport. It's the purport to text 20. Would you like to hear about this?
Yes.
Are you interested, or is this...
Yes.
Oh, no, you can hear.
Yes.
Prabhupada said, Srila Ramananda Roy used to act in that way because he thought of himself in his original position as a maid-servant of the gopis. Now, Prabhupada writes, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur writes in his Amrita Pravaha Bhasya. What is this? That's the commentary which Bhaktivinoda Thakur wrote to Chaitanya Charitamrita. Srila Ramananda Rai composed a drama named Jagannath Vallabha Nataka, and he engaged how many young girls? Two young girls who were there?
Devadasis.
Yeah, Devadasis, or professional dancers and singers, to demonstrate the ideology of the drama. Ideology is the ideas, the principle. Such girls who are called Devadasis, yes, Prabhupada writes Devadasis, are still employed in the temple of Jagannath, where they are called Maharis. Sri Ramananda Roy engaged two such girls, and because they were meant to play the parts of gopis, he taught them how to awaken thoughts like those of the gopis. I saw a little while ago, this evening we will have a drama, and the director of the drama has to teach the different players how can they bring out the feeling, which of the persons they show. Because the gopis are worshipable personalities, Ramananda Roy, who considered the two girls gopis and himself their maidservant, engaged in their service by massaging their bodies with oil to cleanse them completely. Because Ramananda Roy always placed himself in a position of a maidservant of the gopis, his rehearsal means proba, his rehearsal with the girls was actually on the spiritual platform, that means not on the material platform. Because there was no question of personal sense gratification, when Sri Ramananda Roy was serving the girls, his mind was steady. No thoughts which were not appropriate. And his body untransformed. There was no physical reactions as men show when they are together with ladies, or ladies show when they are together with men. This is not to be imitated, nor is such a mentality possible for anyone but Sri Ramananda Roy, as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu will explain. The example of Sri Ramananda Roy is certainly unique. The author of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has given this description because in perfect devotional service one can attain such a position. Nevertheless, one must understand the subject very seriously and never attempt to imitate such activities. Thank you, Prema Modi, for your vast knowledge of this subject. So, I wanted to just show you the exalted position of Ramananda Roy, who showed us that the highest end of knowledge is loving devotional service. For him, who was none other than Vishaka, an eternal associate of Srimati Radharani, who engages in the pastimes of the divine couple as they exchange loving devotion, loving pastimes or leelas in Vrindavan. His service was like this, but it is again unique. However, it also shows in our position, in our philosophy, it's not that we just stay to, we are not the body. This was a realized, let me say, a realization, a realized insight of Ramananda Roy, who acted on this highly advanced subject. During his last days in this world, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would always be with two devotees, Swarup Damodar and Ramananda Roy. He experienced the most divine ecstasies and the greatest longing to be with Radha and Krishna. Sometimes he escaped through 3 bolted doors, closed doors, to his little house or room. Sometimes he would be with the devotees at the beach of Puri, and all of a sudden he would see how the sand dunes transformed for him into the Govardhan mountains, and he would run forward because he had seen some gopis calling for him, come, come and engage in the service of Radha and Krishna. They need flowers. They are just about to go into one of the caves and they need to decorate themselves with beautiful flowers. Here, pick some flowers. And when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ran, trying to be with Radha and Krishna, he would faint, being overwhelmed by divine ecstasy. The devotees ran after him and they came around him. He was there lying in the hot sun. His body was perspiring. He was calling Krishna, Krishna. And the tears would go into the sand, and the sand would stick to his body. And they would try to bring him back from the spiritual world where he had just gone by chanting kirtan. And then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to his external perception after some time and said, "Why have you brought me here? I was with Radha and Krishna picking flowers for them. Then you made some loud noise and you brought me again. Why have you done this?" This was this was during the last period of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's stay. Chaitanya Bhakti points at a road which leads us outside this world. And while we walk on this road, we try to benefit the world as much as possible by going left and right to the people and telling them, "Have you heard about Krishna? In Krishna's kingdom, there is again love, the love which we look for. In Krishna's kingdom, there is again the ecstasy. Have you heard about it? Come and walk with us this road of Chaitanya Bhakti, which leads us to the spiritual world." Lord Chaitanya, in order to make his philosophy clear, had a great devotee like Ramananda Roy, who would give instructions to the conditioned souls in this, there is this discussion, it's called Ramananda Samvad, the discussions between Lord Chaitanya and Ramananda, which convinces us, as we are so busy in our material life, to look at that road. Oh, there's a road. It's called Upapundra, the road which leads upwards. This is there, and I can make advancement from intellectual knowledge. I can come to true knowledge. I can come to true love. Wow! Let me also go on this road. Some of you, no, all of you have been convinced of this road and put on in the morning this tilak. Who of you does this? Every morning, a few maybe half of you do this. This is called Urdhva Pundra, this sign. It's a sign which means the road which leads upward. We are going this way, the road that leads upwards. We don't want to go the road which leads downward any longer. What do you think, Premamodi? It's a good road, no? Good road. Sometimes we need to clean the road. Krishna. There was this long discussion where Mahaprabhu asked questions. At the end he said, what is the only object of chanting? What should one sing? Ramananda Roy said, the holy names of Radha and Krishna are the only object of chanting. He chants the holy name. And then this discussion is very, very nice. Gauranga Mahaprabhu, you must know, is like the ocean of all spiritual truth. He has filled the cloud called Ramananda with the nectar of the purest conclusions of devotions to himself. Ramananda then rained down that same nectar on the very ocean from which it had come, producing the jewels of transcendental knowledge. This same analogy you find in the Bhagavatam, where the teacher of Krishna, called Sandipani Muni, right, is compared to a cloud which has drawn the water of transcendental truth from the ocean of Krishna and then taught Krishna in the Gurukul, and in this way becoming the cloud which rained down the nectar. My dear devotees, this was my last conclusive lecture. I wish you all the best. Please read from time to time the Chaitanya Charitamrita, which will give your heart pleasure. It will instruct you in the highest truth of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and it will give you a perspective how you can go on the road of transcendental knowledge, the road which brings you back home, back to Godhead. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ki jai! Gora Krishna Krishna.
Krishna.
We will should we sing a little?
Yes.
Why not? My dear devotees, now we have a little pause. I need to introduce you to the evening program. It's the concluding evening, and it is quite, some things are on the list. We will meet here at 7 o'clock in the temple for further bhajans. There will be, the article will go parallel, and then around 7:30 or so we will all go outside where the young people have arranged a very good drama. I heard they have rehearsed this for the entire length of the summer camp. Then we will come again back in the temple for the Dvevnik. I think you will like this particular version of the Dvevnik because, yeah, it will show you a little bit an overview of the 15 years of Serbian summer camp. And maybe you know that this was the last summer camp which we made in this location, but by Krishna's mercy we found a better, in my eyes, a better location. I mean, the temple room is much bigger. It's a very nice, it's in Vojvodina, at the edge of a desert, really dramatic scenery. And we will, if Krishna allows us, the people are friendly, they know of our summer camps, and they are inclined to have us there. So we will introduce that project for you. And then there will be, I don't know, and we try to enliven His Holiness Kadambakana Maharaj for something. So all you need to know is 7 o'clock here. If you want to still do something else, then please latest come around 7:30 outside, you know, to that stage there. It's just, you know, the stage on the baseball field, and then we will continue with the evening program there. See you then, and Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.